We need to really see it right in the trenches. We need to see how this character actually works. We need to see how it actually pans out. So as the players prepare themselves for game 1, looks like we'll be getting into it.
I squinted my eyes a little bit, and Meta Knight looked like Diddy Kong. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Shout outs to Meta Knight having like the worst character portrait in this game. Like, the cameraman fell asleep halfway through taking his picture because he is like so off center. Like, the only other character that gets done dirty like that is Duck Hunt, and their excuse is that they're just wrong.
He's a long boy.
Long boy, long duck.
Poor Meta Knight kind of gets forgotten in a lot of situations because a lot of other characters do what they do but better.
Such as, I mean, the shame of playing a jack-of-all-trades character. You are the master of none, and occasionally you get situations where the character's tools are a bit more rewarding, like being a little bit faster, being able to potentially cheese your opponents off the top. One thing we haven't seen from Luke, any prevalence of drill run, but we are seeing just quick, you get him out of here. That's a good start for Kage.
Oh, he caught him DIing in on the down throw, which led to significantly more than what Hero can normally get, a string of 3 up airs. That's any damage is good damage when you have a stock lead, and a stock lead like this, yeah, getting lapped real soon, and things are starting to fall apart a little bit from what seemed like a pretty solid showing in semifinals. A couple of habits and an opponent willing to just wait out what Meta Knight can normally do in a neutral stance and not being willing to chase. That's pretty huge. Also, a lol soon.
Oh, good catch there. All right. Being able to catch out Hero on a jump is super important for Meta Knight. But one thing I think Luke needs to catch on to very quickly is figuring which of his moves he's allowed to actually hit on shield and where it's going to be more of a benefit to actually just sort of be around shield. And picking landings, always something to watch out for more aerially oriented fighters, especially when there's plats, because that's where Hero gets away with criminal activity.
I feel like I bring it up every time we see Hero. Being able to stay grounded in a game where everyone's aerials are so good, it's a really big strength. Like, you can look at every character, and they've got a pretty solid aerial they can throw out, either rising or more likely falling, but not many characters can stay on the ground and be as potent as Hero can be in a lot of instances. And Kage is really showing that off. Sizzle won't do it quite yet.
I know Shuttle Loop treats Meta Knight's hurt box really weird. There was a chance that Whack just worked. But it is, once again, a boosted up tilt that gets it done. Kage taking game 1. There's actually one thing I do want to highlight that was really well done by Luke. Early on, we saw that Dimensional Cape on shield still left Meta Knight in a position to get forward smashed out of block. In fact, I think that's how Kage manages the first kill, if I'm correct. And not that kill. Regardless. Seeing Dimensional Cape on block really not working out, and then putting yourself just shy of that burst range with Dimensional Cape, in that situation, Meta Knight's fast enough to do something to Hero. Being aware of your positioning against Hero and just trying to fake him out, really important. Really, really important. So I do want to see more of that, more of taking advantage of Meta Knight's speed in the upcoming game. Because when it comes to actually duking it out, Kage seems very comfortable with swinging on Meta Knight.
Yeah, I kind of want to lead into that even further. I want to see Luke play that mid-range game a little bit more. Meta Knight is only as threatening as long as his dash attack is something in play, but a lot of times Luke would prefer to completely disengage and retreat to high above center, or would overcommit very hard with falling nairs and falling back airs, which, while may be safe, are very safe on block, aren't necessarily safe to Kage when he's in a scramble situation, of which Kage looked very comfortable. So playing that mid-range and just kind of dashing in and out and being aware of being aware of Hero's menu, but also trying to actively punish it may prove pretty solid for him, as FD is the counter pick.
Kaboom! Yummy starts to the match.
Just, yep, that's a pretty good one.
It's so funny, like we can just break into laughter at any moment because, like, Meta Knight's damage game is pretty respectable. For one thing, forward smash is one of the better spacing tools that Meta Knight exhibits. And we've seen a plethora of up airs landing against Kage with no issue. But just winning out the little interactions, sometimes it's just the little hits from Hero, because those little hits are still occupying a ton of space. But that was a great delay from Luke.
Yeah, I've really been liking... I've been liking a couple things from this game thus far, but oh man, Kage finds his up tilts. I don't know when or how, but this man will land them. Oh no. But Shuttle Loop's crazy.
Oh, he scouted out that inwards DI. He wanted it again.
Yet another zoom. Higher chance to pull zoom when you're off stage, and even higher when you're in the bubble. So it's something that you can scout for. These counter punches have been absolutely insane from Kage.
One thing I do want to point out that I think has just been really like strong piloting of the character is be reversing the first stage neutral beam to augment your movement has been so helpful for Kage, especially in this matchup in particular. They're like staying out of Meta Knight's burst range and being able to throw yourself in there, especially while you've got Psych Up and Oomph. Like that one hit is going to count so much. Oh, and I like that follow-up.
I don't understand how how Kage's just. I think the term has been coined a couple of times recently. The Kage's refresh rate is insane. Like he's able to look at a scenario and understand. Yeah, this is how I get around it. This is how quick I can read. I mean, good, nice. Zoom's random, so just charge up smash, see what you get. But Kage is just being able to recognize every situation he's in so rapidly, and that dimensional slash may take the stock, but he's got a long way to go, and might have to start hunting for some very specific hits or prolonged advantage to get something out of this game.
Yeah, this is kind of a grim situation to be in as the Meta Knight, because you have to find your mark on a hit that's going to matter with the trades, because if you go for a trade with Hero and all of a sudden he's hitting you much harder, total stage control and Hero's have... Oh, that's very dead. Very dead. He's been looking for that snooze off the ledge, too. You gotta be careful. Out your jumps. Not that you always have to worry about snooze, but every time snooze has been on the menu, it's seen its use against the ledge. It's a really good coverage option. And there it finally saw its usage.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of worth it to throw out in a lot of times. It may last a little bit, but it comes out very quickly. Most of Hero's spells can end up doing so. Like, I think Sizzle, and Kaboom, Boom, and Snooze all come out on frame 5 or 6, which means that you can almost constantly have a projectile ready to go if your opponent isn't respecting that kind of option to be thrown out. But hey, Snooze, high risk, not necessarily much more risk than a lot of Hero's other projectiles, but absolutely high reward, especially since he had Psych Up on deck.
I would argue it's probably one of the biggest low-risk, high-reward options in Hero's entire kit, because the projectile itself moves fairly slow. It hangs up on other objects. So, like, say, for instance, you throw it against the wall of a stage, or, like, Steve's block, for instance.
Steve makes his own stage.
Yeah, Steve do be building his own stage, but sometimes he really is just damning himself to it as well, because Snooze can just hang around a little bit. And going to sleep is the worst thing that can happen against a character that can potentially pull up an assortment of buttons that will kill the shit out of you.
Man, I don't remember what language it is, but thwack in one one language translates to super kill, and that's Hero
Oh,
can definitely do that.
Oh, that's a super kill.
Yeah, I don't remember what language that was, but I mean, there's a billion things about Hero that just make the character, at the end of the day, if you're willing to accept his jank, just really funny and really fun. And sometimes when you're playing a character you have fun with, some matchups just begin to flow a little bit easier, and some gameplay gets to flow a little bit easier because you're having a good time.
I posit that Hero is the most fun character to play in Ultimate because there's just so many goofy things. Like, assuming you're not on the business end of like Black Zero or dying to super kills, or just in general, you have a character that's glowing an assortment of colors ready to end you in 4 hits. It's so hard to not crack a smile at any of the things that's happening on screen because it's so ridiculous. And you could argue the competitive integrity of such ridiculousness, but honestly, at the end of the day, you just sort of have to accept it. There is really no reason for Hero to go anywhere else. I do wish that the menu select had a bit more of accessibility, because you mentioning that one of the spells is something different in another language reminds me that you need to effectively know like 32 times 8 language words for one character's one special.
It's a tall task.
It's a tall order for anyone, let alone a caster, to accurately position, and that's K-Rool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a tidbit in chat, as shoutouts to Rocco MK for not only being active in chat, we appreciate it, but also for the subscription. Love to see that as well.
Let's go.
Yeah. He threw out the warning that that Luke be going K-Rool, and we should prepare. I'm not sure if that's because his K-Rool is actually like spicy, or if it's just because. Oh wait, maybe it is the latter.
Hey, listen, that's a spicy start if I've ever seen one.
The former, excuse me, I didn't even get to finish my statement, but it's a good start. It's a good start, and having offstage pressure is surprisingly effective against Hero, because while you have to respect the Kaswoosh, you don't have to respect the rising Hero. He can get hit by basically anything.
That being said, yeah, no, watching out for Swoosh and Kaswoosh is going to be very important for K-Rool. There's not many things that K-Rool has to worry about with his jetpack. Well, that's a broken shield.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, no, too heavy. He had a scout out for Hatchet Man. But that projectile going downwards and taking up a ton of space, definitely one of the things to worry about. This is such a bizarre matchup, too. This one I actually have seen, but this one is true. This is prime Ultimate. This is the best.
When you see someone anti-air with an F smash on a platform, you know that both of them are just kind of swinging for the fences. Oh, that looks like a misinput, but no punish. That's re-rolling. The crowd comes out, no up smash, but there it was. Oh no.
Oh, hold up. Yeah, there we go. That's what you get for snoozing. The reflector actually coming in clutch. Very rare that I get a chance to see that. Now it's on deck 2. Oh no. This game 3 is going in places I could have never predicted it would.
If you had told me that this Meta Knight player has a pocket, or has a secondary K-Rool, excuse me, I'm gonna go, ooh, what? Why? Kaboom is why.
Well,
that was game 3.
That was a hell of a game 3. At least Luke manages to go out with a bang. Yes, please show me that first clip again. He took his jump down tilt?
Afro down tilt. I'd love to see that.
That's dope.
Should K-Rool's down tilt spike?
No, don't give him any more tools. That character's silly. That whole game was silly. Both of these characters are silly.
Oh, K-Rool just eating beans, you know? Like, he's just making the most out of it.
Oh my god. This I actually loved. This was just karmic
That was
retribution.
And he got hit with a snooze game too, but he pulled out the no you card. And he's thriving.
You know what's funny is in that last clip, Chris, if you could run that for us one last time. There's something I want to see what the K Rool does. His reaction to Kaboom, I think he goes for the counter. He does. He goes for counter, and I like the idea.
I think I might contradict you because the move he does just before is up air, which up air has a lot of lag, and he was like holding onto his belly, as K Rool tends to do.
You may be right. Yeah, you're right. It is up air. I thought he went for counter because counter doesn't work against Kaboom. Because the projectile itself is like pea-sized. The explosion, the big thing, is as big as you'd think it is. But the actual Kaboom itself is rather small. It just has a obscene wind box. So reflecting it is actually a more difficult task than you'd presume.
Yeah, you basically have to be at its epicenter instead of anywhere in its actual radius.
So yeah, I thought that was a whiffed counter. If it's a up air for the sake of, I guess, stalling, which isn't a bad idea in its own right. We've seen that stalling off stage against Hero does have its merits. But nonetheless, incredibly goofy interactions lead a very entertaining Game 3 to end in favor of Kage. So we are treated to Hero versus Incineroar once again, with the Incineroar in winner's side. That whole sentence I could have never expected to have said.